That's what we agreed, old chap. Right from the start.
Not anymore. Twice as much.
That's ridiculous.
Have you ever thought what could happen to you, Mr. Lucas? You could be put up against a wall and shot.
All right. All right, this time, but that's as far as I can go. That's all I can afford. There's a limit, and that's it.
I'll decide what you can afford. For your part, you can always choose the firing squad, if you wish. That's the dilemma you've placed yourself in.
But I'm not the only one in it, am I?
I think, Mr. Lucas, you've just said something you may regret. Now, the rest of the money.
I don't keep money here.
I can wait, Mr. Lucas. I can wait. We'll regard this merely as an advance, shall we?
Louis? Teddy Lupus. Look, I want you round here as fast as you can. Yes, right away. I want everything cleared out. That's right, everything. I'll tell you when you get round here. And make it fast.
What's the panic?
That bloody Feldwebel getting greedy. That's what. Come on.
Why clear all this lot out? He's been paid for it.
I'm taking no chance of his blowing the whistle on me.
And what are we going to do with it?
You're looking after it.
Me? Not on yours. Look, I find the buyers. I don't store it.
Louis, I don't think you understand. You're going to look after it, or you are out. I'm telling you. Cheer up. Anybody think there's a war on? Tortoise. My dear old friend.
Hello, Teddy.
Well, come in. Come in. When did you get back?
Just now.
My God. Must have been awful. You look...
Tired? Yes, well, I was just on my way back home and realised that probably I ought to phone first.
My dear chap, nothing easier. You know the way.
You don't mind?
Do I mind? In fact, I'll get the number for you. My God, it's good to see you.
Well, it's good to be out of that place.
Oh, we're not exactly flowing with milk and honey here, but I'm sure we do offer certain advantages. Mind you, it's got a lot worse while you've been languishing in prison. We really do know what the jackboot means now, I can tell you. Hello, Eileen. Oh, I'd know your voice anywhere, sweetheart. What are you doing tonight? Oh, well, you don't know what you're missing. Still, listen, I want to place a very important call.
Hello, Helen Porteous. Peter!
Hey, steady. Are you all right?
I'm all right. I'm all right. In fact, I'm very well now that you're back again. A bath? Oh, yes, darling, I'm sure we can. All right, darling. Goodbye. Mrs. Bartlett?
I'll pay you for the call later.
Don't be silly.
I haven't got any money on me at all at the moment, but I'll come round another time.
Oh, for God's sake, old chap, I can't let my friend use the old telephone.
Look, I'd like to pay for the bloody phone call.
All right. What's got into you?
Nothing. Forget it.
Well, you'll feel better when you've been here for a while. I can just imagine what it was like.
Can you?
I know what those German bastards must have put you through.
Well, as a matter of fact, most of the guards in the Cherche Midi are French.
Lousy collaborators. They're worse than the Germans, if that's possible.
How do you tell a collaborator, Teddy? Recognise what I mean.
Well, you can't, can you? I mean, not to be certain.
A couple of chaps in the Cherche Midi are pretty certain they know one.
We all think we know someone. Eh?
Now, for God's sake, man, you're not stupid. Doesn't it occur to you that people talk when they're in prison? There are a couple of men in the Cherche Midi who'd like to kill you, Teddy.
Yes, Jacques. What do you want?
This tire, I don't know if you can mend it.
Leave it, and I'll have a look at it.
Or if you can get me another one.
I might be able to find a second-hand one. I'll see what I can do. Come back tomorrow. Now, look here, Peter. If there are people telling lies about me, I want to know who it is.
So you can tell your German friends.
I don't have any German friends. I tried to get off the island before the occupation, but I couldn't. I'd be fighting them if I'd had my way. I wanted to join the RAF.
You're lying. You sat tight and feathered your own nest. Worse, you turned informer.
That's not true.
Look, those two men in the Cherche Midi, they'll be lucky to come out alive. And you put them there.
Forget about the phone call. I don't want your money. Just don't come back.
According to one of them, it was you who betrayed Clive Martel.
Go home. You're sick.
They're not as sick as you.
Get out.
No, you listen to me. Clive came to you for help when he landed on the island. He was dressed in civilian clothes. He could have been shot as a spy, And you told the Germans he was here.
Clive gave himself up.
He came to you for help, Teddy. Your own partner and friend. He stood in my house and told me. I'd counted on Teddy. Thought that's where I'd lie up. But he wasn't awfully keen.
I told you. He gave himself up. Everybody knows it.
But not before you'd set the dogs on him. You'd sell anybody. And now that I'm back, I'm going to make damn sure a few other people know about it too.
You come back. I'm not having that.
Let go of me! Get out of my way!
Peter? Oh, Peter. Oh, darling.
Yes? Hello? Who? I'm sorry, it's a very bad line. You will have to speak up. Who? No, he's not here. Hold on. No, Lieutenant Kluger. Yeah, there you are, sir. There's a telephone call for you, very urgent. Must be done for the meeting. Excuse me. Hello? Hello? Hello?
There's no one there. Who was it?
I do not know, sir.
Dinner won't be long. Mrs. Bartley's managed to get something special.
Anything will be fine.
Tell me about it.
I'd rather not.
I know I can't share it with you or take any of it upon myself however much I wanted to. But I should like to know. To understand.
Solitary confinement, most of the time. Cold. Insanitary conditions. Lack of food and what there was revolting. Talking to the others occasionally, on exercise, if one wasn't caught. Otherwise, messages tapped on walls. Dirt. Vermin. Hardly remember all this.
Well, at least it's all over now. Behind you.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
There's something about you. Something different.
Well, it's hardly surprising that Scherschmidt changes people.
It's more than the hardship, the effect of that. What did they do to you, Peter?
No more than they did to Dr. Martell or any of the others.
To you? Tell me.
It's hard to explain. Well, if you treat men like animals... It's not so very long ago that killing someone would have seemed inconceivable. Now I know it's probably in all of us, certainly in me. Who found him, Sergeant?
The foot patrol. Noticed the door wasn't locked.
Sergeant Corbett. Nothing has been moved here, I hope?
Nothing.
Dr. Martel. This should tell us something. You have an efficient fingerprint team, Sergeant?
We can manage, thank you.
Good. Death is caused by a blow to the head with a blunt instrument. You would agree, Doctor?
No, I wouldn't.
There's blood on the wrench.
Yeah, Mr. Kluger, my duty at this present moment is to establish whether or not life is extinct. No more.
Is life extinct, Doctor?
Oh, yes, yes.
What then is the cause of death?
Well, he certainly sustained a nasty crack on the head, didn't he? I won't dispute that. But I'm not prepared to go any further until after a post-mortem has been carried out.
But you would not dispute the obvious deduction.
I have said everything I intend to at this minute.
Not quite, Doctor. We must have the time of death. You surely don't need a post-mortem to estimate that.
Ah, yes, well, I think I'd say that on the available evidence somewhere approximately between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock.
Approximate indeed, Doctor.
Yes.
We needn't detain you any longer.
Good.
Good night. Thank you.
Who is the investigating officer in this case, Sergeant?
I'd make the same request, Doctor.
Yes, but you'd be entitled to.
No signs of a struggle up here, Sergeant. Still, I think your fingerprint people ought to go over this office very thoroughly before it is searched.
What are you looking for?
Anything? Nothing? Who knows? But not I, Sergeant. We.
Oberleutnant Kluger, this case does not appear to me to concern the occupying power.
Ah. But it may do so, Sergeant.
I must ask in what way?
I shall not interfere with your investigation, Sergeant. Merely keep a watching brief. I think that's what you say, isn't it?
I'm afraid I must insist that you tell me.
Well, why not? The man's dead now anyway. But I must ask you to keep this to yourself. We're both policemen, yeah? Speak the same language. Sergeant, in your experience, how many crimes are solved by information received?
The majority, probably.
Quite. So we all need informants. We all use them. Turn a blind eye to a trivial offense, and in return...
So Lupus fed information to the German authorities?
Oh, no. Not to the German authorities, Sergeant. To me, personally. It's a very personal relationship, Sergeant. You know that. I caught him selling cigarettes on the black market. Just a few cigarettes. Does no one any harm. And after that, he was very useful. Oh, not civil matters, Sergeant. That's your concern. Just information I had to have, which could only come from an islander.
I see. So you think another islander could have found out? A revenge killing?
Perhaps. Possibly not. But until we are sure, as you see, we have a common interest.
Oberleutnant, if what you suspect is so, there are a good many people on this island whose sympathies might lie entirely with whoever killed Terry Lupus.
I have often sympathized with a murderer myself, Sergeant. But it has never deterred me from bringing one to justice. Whoever he may be. You will do your job regardless, Sergeant. And I will always be on hand to help you.
How are you getting on?
Oh, this isn't my field, you know, Sergeant. I'm not a forensic man.
You're all we've got, Doctor. You'll have to do the best you can.
Yes, well, this bit of hair and the blood both came from the wrench.
Are they definitely Teddy Lupus's?
Well, I can't say that.
Well, what can you say, Doctor?
They're similar in all characteristics.
Well, I suppose that'll have to do.
Who did it? Must have got your suspicions.
Did you know that Peter Porteous returned to the island yesterday?
No. No, I didn't.
His fingerprints were amongst those found on the telephone. I should like to spare you distress, madam, that's all.
And I wish to stay.
As you please.
Exactly, Sergeant. As I please.
Jacques Roussel says that when he came in, you seemed angry with Lupus.
Oh, we were having an argument.
He overheard you say something about killing him.
What I said was that there were some men who wanted to.
Why did you attack him?
Well, he came at me with a wrench. What would you have done?
Oh, Peter.
Well, I didn't kill him.
I'm sorry, Mr. Porteous. I'm afraid you must accompany me to the police station.
Why?
For further inquiries. Are those the clothes you were wearing yesterday?
No.
Would you get them, please?
You're making a terrible mistake, Sergeant.
I hope so, Mrs. Porteous.
Your fingerprints were taken when you were previously arrested, Mr. Porteous, before you were sentenced to the Cherche Midi. On the wrench which killed Lupus, there were two sets of fingerprints. The first were Lupus's and the others were yours.
I've already explained that to Sergeant Corbett. There was a fight. He came at me with the wrench and I took it off him.
And then you hit him over the head with it.
No, I knocked him down, but with my fist. And then I told him what I thought of him, threw down the wrench and walked out.
Oh, you threw down the wrench?
Yes.
How far away from where Lupus was lying would this be?
I don't know, a few feet, perhaps.
A few feet, I see. You admit that you threatened Lupus. You admit that you had a fight with him. You admit that you knocked him down. You admit that you held the wrench. You hit Lupus over the head with that wrench and you killed him.
No, look, I've told you. Lupus may have deserved to die.
Why do you say that?
Because he was one of your creatures. Because he betrayed Clive Martel and others, people you sent to rot in camps and prisons. But I didn't kill him.
The evidence would seem to suggest that you did, Mr. Porteous. And moreover, you appear to have had an excellent motive, of which until this moment I was not aware.
I think they're going to charge Peter with murder.
What?
And apparently they have now found his fingerprints on the wrench that was probably used to kill Lupus.
They've picked on him as a scapegoat. Just out of prison, convicted of conspiring against the Germans.
You haven't heard the worst yet. Peter now admits to having had a fight with Lupus.
But Peter is incapable of killing anyone, you know that.
Yes, I think we both have said the same thing about Claire at one time, haven't we?
That was an accident.
Well, perhaps whoever killed Lupus didn't intend to kill him.
If only it could be proved that Peter was somewhere else.
What do you mean he was there? He admits he was seen there.
Not when Lupus was killed. That must have been later.
Yes, we don't know when exactly.
No. Suppose Lupus died at 8 o'clock.
No, it was before that.
Yes, but you can't be certain. You told me that. It is possible, isn't it?
Just.
Peter would have been home by then. Mrs. Bartlett would have seen him. There'd be a witness.
No, I'm sure that by then Lupus was dead.
Yeah, but you can't be positive. You admit that yourself. Now, look. All you have to do when you carry out the post-mortem is to say that you made a mistake in the first place about the time that Lupus died.
What do you mean it's too late
No,
for
listen,
that?
listen, Pip. Instead of between 4 and 7, it was between, well, say between 8 and 10. Well, they'd have to accept your findings, wouldn't they? Well?
No, I can't possibly say that.
Why not?
Because it's not what I believe.
I don't understand. It's It seems to me that the only reason that Peter is going to be charged with murder is because he could have been there when Lupus died. Well, you said the evidence was only circumstantial.
Yes, that's true.
They are relying on your word, and you are by no means certain, so what does it matter what you believe? We are talking about Peter Porteous's life.
God, no. I did not want to get involved in this kind of responsibility. I mean, in peacetime, we'd have sent to the mainland for a forensic man.
Yeah, exactly. But you are not a forensic man, so what is wrong with giving Peter the benefit of the doubt? That's all it amounts
Look,
to.
I can only submit the truth as I see it. Now, as far as I could make out, Lupus died between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock. That is the best opinion I can form, and that is what I have to say. There's nothing else I can do.
Well, I'm sorry, I think there is. Would your conscience be easy if Peter Porteous was executed for murder because you were wrong?
Now, it is not my job to decide between guilt or innocence. That's a matter for the courts.
British justice under a German occupation? Do you really believe that Peter will receive a fair trial?
I was checking Porteous' story as a matter of routine. And I spoke to Miss Eileen Mercer here, who was on duty at the town telephone exchange yesterday afternoon and evening. Eileen, would you tell the Oberleutnant what you told me, please? Did Mr. Porteous telephone his mother from Mr. Lupus's number?
Yes, Mr. Lupus asked for the number and I put him through.
And what time was that?
About 20 to 5.
Well, no one is disputing that Porteous was on the premises at that time.
Just a minute, please. Were there any subsequent calls made from that number?
Only the one.
To whom?
To Oberleutnant Kluger here at the Kommandantur.
To me? Oh, yes, I do remember. I was called to the telephone. But there was no one there. Whoever it was had rung off. Do you know why?
No, sir. We were rather busy, and once it was ringing, I dealt with another call.
And what time was that call, Eileen?
About 7:30.
By Lupus?
No, it was someone else.
You would recognize Lupus's voice?
Yes, sir. We always used to have a joke with me whenever he asked for a number.
Do you know who did make the call?
No, I didn't recognize his voice at all. It sounded sort of funny.
How do you mean?
Muffled. Distant, indistinct. As though there was something wrong with the line.
Perhaps there was. Would you wait outside, Eileen, please? Thank you. I'll be with you in a minute.
Just a moment, please. Were there any other telephone calls from Lupus's number during that day?
A little after 4 o'clock. It was a short, local call.
Do you know to whom?
Of course. It was a Louis Brossard.
Brossard. Local? Thank you, Miss Mercer.
Thank you, Eileen. That later call, the one to you, whoever it was, could have been using a handkerchief or something to muffle his voice.
But why?
Nothing occurs to you?
Well, nothing. Whose fingerprints were on the telephone?
Lupus and Porteous.
Oh. It'd hardly be Porteous. That leaves Lupus. Dr. Martel says that Lupus died between 4 and 7. The call was made at 7:30.
Exactly.
Certainly is very odd.
But suppose somebody else found the body and intended to inform you anonymously and changed his mind for some reason. Now, an islander wouldn't think of informing you, Oberleutnant. He'd inform the police. But your name might be the first one to occur to a German soldier.
That's pure conjecture. Anyway, we have the fingerprints.
Wearing gloves, perhaps?
It makes no difference to the case against Porteous. You would do much better to go and find this Louis Brossard, to whom Lupus telephoned.
Thank you, Oberleutnant. I do know my job. Hello. They said you were coming. How's Mother?
How Olive's gone to stay with her.
It's very kind.
I hear you'll be conducting the post-mortem.
Yes.
Not very much you can do in that case, is there?
Peter, I am not on anyone's side.
Ironic, really. Teddy Lupus who betrayed Clive to the Germans.
What?
Informed on him. That's why they came round to your house.
Good God.
All stems from that, really, doesn't it? Clive in prison. Claire's breakdown. All because of Teddy Lupus.
When did you find all this out about Claire?
Someone told me in Sheshmadi after you'd been released. Hard to believe. Clive and Teddy being partners at one time.
I think if I'd known that about Lupus, I'd have... You didn't. Did you?
When I left that workshop, he had a bruised jaw. Nothing else. I didn't kill him.
Louis Brossard, you know what it is, the penalty for stealing Wehrmacht stores? Your life. For 150 liters of kerosene. Fair exchange, huh? Come on now, tell me where you got it.
I didn't take the stuff.
You're wasting my time.
Look, I didn't take it, and that's the truth. I was storing it, and that's all I know.
Storing it for Lupus?
Yes.
Where did he get it?
From a German.
Well, of course it was a German. Which one?
A Feldweber.
The name?
I don't know, I didn't hear it.
Did you see him?
I caught a glimpse of him once.
Then describe him.
I don't think I can.
My friend, you had better try. And quick!
Leutnant Kluger.
I thought I had no alternative, Herr Oberst, in view of the gravity of the matter, but to bring it to your attention.
And this, you say, is a record of the man's transactions?
And the name.
And the name.
Why would he write down names?
It is a curious fact, Herr Oberst. Many criminals keep a detailed account of their activities.
What I find even more curious... Sit down, Otto.
Thank you, sir.
What I find even more curious is the fact that this particular criminal operated by your leave.
Well, I have tried to explain that, Herr Oberst.
Well, you gave Lupus virtual immunity.
In return for information.
Oh, what information? A few unfortunate people convicted. Most likely people it suited him to have put away, and you obliged him.
It was through him that we got onto Martel's son, Herr Oberst.
Ah, yes, yes. The one achievement you can chalk up with pride. But does that balance the fact that you have been used by this petty criminal? That he took advantage of the immunity you offered him by setting up a flourishing black market based on regular thefts of supplies from military stores?
No, Herr Oberst.
Why was I not told about your arrangement with this man?
With respect, Herr Oberst, it didn't seem necessary. The man was merely a common informer.
You're not in a humble police force now, Kluge. You're an officer in the Wehrmacht.
Herr Oberst, whether in Hamburg or in Guernsey, in order to obtain information, I must have informants.
I will not tolerate the use of agent provocateur. And this comes dangerously close to it. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Herr Oberst.
Does this information affect in any way the case against Porteous?
No, Herr Oberst. The island police are proceeding against Porteous with a charge of murder. I agree with their conclusions. He will be tried and found guilty, there's little doubt of it.
Very well, you may go. Go and take this with you. Had you arrested Lupus, instead of coming to an arrangement with him, he would be alive today, and Porteous would not be charged with a capital offence. 2 lives, Kluge. That's the price of your arrangements.
were present when your quarters were searched?
Yes, Herr Oberleutnant.
Venerable Heller, this money was found concealed in your mattress. Well?
Yes, Herr Oberleutnant.
You don't deny that you put it there?
No.
Why did you put it there?
For safety, Herr Oberleutnant.
Where did you get it?
I won it playing cards, Herr Oberleutnant.
So much?
I play frequently.
It is an offense against military discipline to play cards for money stakes.
I accept that, Herr Oberleutnant. But it is a wide practice.
Name those involved.
There was a card school practically every night in a different place. We just played. No one bothered with names.
Oh, not with your friends.
My friends know me better than to play for money, Herr Oberleutnant.
Are you seriously saying that you cannot identify any of the people who lost money to you?
There were some, I remember, but they've been posted away. Units are moving in and out all the time.
During the last 18 months, Heller, you have remitted to Germany monies far in excess of your pay.
Again, my winnings, Herr Oberleutnant.
Your winnings would be in occupation marks, worthless in Germany.
If I was lucky and won a lot, I would buy marks with occupation money from men newly arrived from Germany.
That much I believe.
Thank you, Herr Oberleutnant.
Edward Lupus. Did you know him?
Yes.
In what connection?
He was something of a gambler, too.
That's all? Nothing else?
No, I have a motorbike in my billet. I used to go to him for spares.
When did you last see him?
The day he was killed, Herr Oberleutnant.
That would be when?
In the afternoon. He promised to get a carburetor for me.
Ah, so you went back to see if he was successful?
No, Herr
I think you did. I think you went back there and found him lying dead on the floor. You tried to telephone me and then you changed your mind. Oh, come on, man. There's no harm in admitting that. You may know something that would be helpful to the police in their investigation.
Had I known Lupus was dead, I would, of course, have informed the authorities. But when I left his workshop in the afternoon, I did not return, so naturally I didn't know.
Do you know what this is?
No, Herr Oberleutnant.
It is a very private account book kept by Edward Lupus, in which, amongst other things, he details amounts of money paid to you over the last few months. How do you account for that?
As I said, Lupus was a gambler, but not a lucky one. Perhaps he kept a record of his losses.
Or perhaps a record of amounts of money paid to you for stolen oil and kerosene.
I know nothing about anything.
You're lying, Heller! You're the NCO in charge of the transport store. You've been supplying Lupus for months.
I deny these allegations, Herr Oberleutnant.
The evidence is here!
With respect, Herr Oberleutnant, I doubt very much if anything in that book is evidence. I cannot be held responsible for the way a man chooses to record his gambling losses, especially a man who cannot be questioned. You may conduct any investigation you please, Herr Oberleutnant. You will find no evidence to connect me in any way with any theft.
We'll see about that.
Herr Oberleutnant.
I'm placing you under arrest.
The post-mortem's today. I'm picking Dr. Martel up soon. Mr. Porteous, I'm a policeman. I have a job which I have to do.
I know.
Now, I've studied your statement very carefully and verified as much of it as I can. I'm struck by your account of the struggle which took place between yourself and Mr. Lupus. You say that he picked up the wrench first and that you had reason to fear for your life.
That's the way it seemed.
Then you succeeded in taking the wrench from him. Now, I want to put this to you. Having taken the wrench, hardly knowing what you were doing, you then struck him.
I didn't.
Let me finish, please. By making your full admission, you could be charged with a lesser offense of manslaughter. The court would take the circumstances into account, the fact that you were acting in self-defense. From what has emerged, there will be a good deal of sympathy for you. The sentence will be relatively light, a few years in prison, no more. But murder is a capital offense, Mr. Porteous, you know that. There can be only one sentence. Now, I want to ask you again, if you wish to change your statement in any way.
I can't admit to something that I didn't do. And I did not kill Teddy Lupus.
I see. Well, I'm afraid I've done all I can.
I'm sorry, I can't go on with this case, Sergeant. I just don't have the experience.
We need a pathologist, Doctor. You're the only one available. Besides, the post-mortem is merely a formality. Just a case of certifying that Lupus died from a blow on the head.
It's not quite as simple as that, and you know it. I do have a relationship with the accused.
I don't doubt your impartiality, Doctor.
Oh, good morning, Sergeant Corbett.
Mrs. Martel. I'll be outside in the car, Doctor.
I'm surprised they didn't send Kluger to fetch you as well.
Oh, well, he'll be at the post-mortem along with a German doctor.
To make sure you come up with the right findings. So you're still going to do it?
I don't really have much alternative, do I?
Right. If I'm not here when you get back, I shall be with Helen Porteous.
Yes, all right.
I don't know what she's going to do with husband killed in the First War and now Peter. More than any woman should have to bear.
Dr. Martel. May I present Dr. Walter?
Dr. Martel.
Good morning.
Sergeant Corbett of the Island Police. Morning.
Thank you for allowing me to be present at the post-mortem, Doctor.
I wasn't aware that I had any choice.
Are these Porteous' clothes?
Yes.
Any bloodstains?
Not that we've found so far. Excuse me.
Well, Dr. Martel is obviously extremely methodical.
Here we are, Helen.
Oh, Olive, you shouldn't have troubled.
Mrs. Bartlett says you've hardly eaten anything for 2 days. You must have something.
I couldn't.
Look, it's only some soup and a piece of bread. Please, try.
What a nightmare island this has become.
Everyone knows that Peter couldn't possibly have killed Teddy Lupus.
Is that what Philip says?
Well, he didn't want to become involved in this, but there is no one else.
I know. I wanted to know what his opinion was.
Well, you know what he is, professional etiquette. And because he might have to give evidence, he won't express an opinion, even to me.
So much has changed. Peter's changed. My kind, thoughtful, considerate son. Oh, he couldn't kill anyone, I know that. Yet the night he came back, he said that he now knows it's in him to kill someone.
You mustn't even think that, much less say it. That's the sort of thing that could be misinterpreted.
By the police, do you mean? Oh, I haven't said anything about it to them, of course not. And I know. In my heart, I do know, but I can't help thinking.
Oh, Helen.
There's no doubt in my mind at all.
Technically, perhaps that may be so.
Then you agree?
By implication, the real cause may be otherwise.
Yeah, I'm not concerned with implications, only facts, and the facts are here.
Indeed. Indeed, that is so. But it is a fact, is it not, Doctor, that the extent of cerebral contusion and consequential compression from the blow would have led to a reversible coma.
Yes, I don't dispute that for a moment, but surely it's a question of which comes first, isn't it? That's what I've got to certify. I take it that's how things proceed in your country?
Yes, it is.
Then we are agreed.
Yes, I agree.
Ah, Sergeant, I can now give you the cause of death.
A heart attack?
Yeah.
That old joke? The man's heart stopped beating and never he died.
No, Lupus's heart was diseased. He suffered a massive coronary. It could have happened at any minute.
Well, what about the blow to the head?
The blow to the head was not the cause of death.
Dr. Walter?
Technically, that is the case. But it could well be that the coronary was brought about by the exertions of the struggle, followed by a severe, if not immediately fatal, blow to the head.
Yes, that is pure speculation, isn't it? Which, of course, is not my concern. No, my findings are that Lupus died from natural causes. Now, whether that is acceptable is up to the courts.
Well, as you are the prosecution pathologist, Doctor, I hardly see how your findings can be questioned. It seems that you're no longer dealing with a murder case, Sergeant. The only charge I can see is one of assault.
And whether that is the case for the British courts is another matter.
What does that mean?
It means that we took some scrapings from underneath Lupus's fingernails.
When a man's engaged in a life-and-death struggle, he would be likely to tear at his assailant.
In this particular case, we found no traces of either skin or blood.
Well, of course not. Porteous wasn't marked.
Oh, what we did find under his fingernails were some fibers of material.
From Porteous' clothes?
No.
Someone else's? Whose?
Our Sergeant Corbett has conducted the tests.
They're nothing like the fibers on any of Mr. Porteous's clothes. In my opinion, they come from a German army uniform.
You have seen this, Doctor?
Yes. And that is also my opinion.
There is no room for doubt?
No, we have been scrupulously careful.
Yes, I'm sure you have.
I compared the fibers of as wide a range of uniforms as I could in the time. The officer's quality cloth is too fine and the ordinary trooper's too coarse. But some NCO's uniforms contain such fibers.
Some?
The more senior grades.
From Feldwebel up?
Yes.
You're not trying to make a theory fit a fact, are you, Sergeant?
No, sir.
No, I believe you. Well, thank you, Dr. Martel, and you, Sergeant. Perhaps, as you say, this is not a case for a British court after all.
Can you prove any of this?
Well, about the black market activities, Herr Oberst, I can prove nothing. Heller covered his tracks too well.
Yeah, but you just said you think he killed Lupus. Surely you can prove that.
But Dr. Martel has certified death as due to natural causes, Herr Oberst, and is backed up by our Dr. Walter. There is no murder charge. The only thing I can proceed with against Heller is a charge of assault.
Well, so what you're telling me is because of the evidence of both doctors, there's nothing you can do about Heller?
Little or nothing, Herr Oberst. That's correct. You're no longer under arrest.
There are no charges, Herr Oberleutnant?
Only one. I'm sorry to say. Feldwebel Heller, by your own admission, you have been waging money on games of chance, contrary to military discipline. Your superior officer has been informed you're derated to ordinary soldier with immediate effect.
But, Oberleutnant, it is a petty offence.
Heller. We both know it is not for that, don't we? I know what happened, Heller. All of it. And further, you're drafted to coastal defense work. See if the spade work will get a little of that fat off. Now get out!
Santé.